I understand English really well, but when I speak to another person, I often have no idea what to say. Or sometimes I know what to say, but I just can't get the words to come out. For most people, there are three main reasons why this happens. I'm Teacher Mike, and today I'm going to explain what those three reasons are and what you can do about them. The first reason is this. You've probably learned English mostly from books and educational videos, not by listening to real conversations. When most people learn English, especially if they learn it in school, they tend to spend a lot of time learning rules and memorizing vocabulary. That's why they can usually understand things like books, articles, and simple news programs. They've learned a lot of the language that we use when presenting information. Most of my videos are the same. I'm not having a back and forth conversation with someone. I'm just presenting information that I carefully planned in advance, which is not how conversations work. In conversations, we do things like show interest, show surprise, agree, disagree. And to do these things, we use lots of short phrases that you'll probably never hear if you don't spend time listening to real conversations. This is also why you might be able to speak quite fluently when answering questions that you've already heard before, but you're not so confident about what to say when someone tells you that their dog died or that they like your shoes. Because now you have to react, not just repeat information that you've memorized. And grammar and vocabulary are not always going to help you here, because reacting is more about just knowing the phrases that we use to express specific emotions in different situations. And that's something that you can only really learn from listening. Yes, you can try to guess what to say based on what you might say in your own language, but that's often not going to work, because different languages and cultures often respond to the same situation in very different ways. So, if you want to get better at responding in conversations, the key is listening. Not just to educational videos, not just to the news, not just to someone presenting information. You need to listen to real conversations, and you need to do it often. Listen to how people react to good news, how people react to bad news, how people express surprise, how people express joy. Pay attention to the short phrases, the small reactions, the way people express emotion. In my experience, this is what most people are missing. It's also one of the reasons why living in an English-speaking country can be so helpful. Not because people are teaching you English, but because every day you're hearing how people respond in small, ordinary situations. And over time, these start to feel natural to you, not something that you need to think about before saying. But this is important. You do not need to live in an English-speaking country to learn this, because it's not about where you are, it's about what you do. Watch TV shows, watch interviews, listen to podcasts, anything where people are having real face-to-face conversations, not just teaching or explaining. But teacher, I can't understand everything when I watch TV. That's normal, and that's fine. Remember, your goal is just to start becoming familiar with the short phrases that we use again and again in different situations, not to be able to explain exactly what happened in a complex episode of a TV series about a bipolar CIA agent. The second reason is this. Speaking isn't always easy, even in your own language. I'm a native English speaker, and there are lots of times when I don't know what to say in English. Sometimes someone says something unexpected, and I have no idea how to reply because I've never been in that situation before. So I try my best to say what I think makes sense, and it's not always perfect. Sometimes I say something, and then I immediately think to myself, oh my god, that was such a stupid thing to say. That's normal. So remember, sometimes when you don't know what to say, the reason might just be that you're in a difficult situation. not that there's a problem with your English. And there will always be situations like this. So when it happens, say something simple and move on. The other person probably didn't even notice. The third reason is simple: you don't practice speaking enough, or you don't practice speaking at all. You might read every day, you might watch videos, you might listen to podcasts, but that's not speaking. Speaking is when you use your mouth to produce words and sentences. Just like you won't get good at football if you never touch a ball, you're not going to get good at speaking unless you practice using your mouth. Reading does not use your mouth. Listening does not use your mouth. The only way to practice using your mouth is to use your mouth. Speak out loud every day. And remember, speaking practice is not about learning. It's not about correcting mistakes, and it's not about improving your grammar. It's about repeating things that you already know again and again so that you can use them easily when you need them in real situations. However, you're not always going to speak perfectly. You're going to make mistakes sometimes. And you're not always going to know that you are making mistakes, especially when practicing by yourself. And that's fine, because practicing with mistakes that you can correct later in the future is still a lot better than not practicing at all. So, which of these three reasons do you think affects your speaking the most? And what are you going to do about it? Let me know in the comments. And if you want a guide that teaches you exactly how to practice speaking, even if you don't have a partner, I highly recommend my ebook, which you can find in the link below.